So today we're going to talk about something that everybody knows about, but rarely knows what to do about. Power struggles with strong-willed students. So glad you're here today. Oh, that looks like an ugly power struggle. Wonder if there's any way to avoid those. So if you serve in children's or youth ministry, then you know that one thing that everyone loves is getting into an unwinnable power struggle with students. Wait, that's not right. Actually, no one likes that. So why does this happen so often at church? And does it have to? Serving strong-willed students at church, avoiding power struggles. Let's get started by breaking down how a typical power struggle unfolds at church. Often we have a leader tell a student to do something. Time to go to big group. But then the student refuses to do it. I don't want to. Then the leader will double down on the command, go to big group now, which is rarely well received by the strong-willed student. No way! This often results in a tug of war between command and refusal, and in the end, no one wins. But what happens when if a conflict starts, we respond differently? Today, we're going to look at 3 steps to avoiding power struggles. Number 1, find a place to agree. A great way to take some of the conflict out of a potential power struggle is to start with where you can agree. Let's replay the beginning of our conflict. But this time, instead of doubling down, what if the leader responds by acknowledging the student's feelings? I understand. Playing at the table is really fun. Now you have a place where you agree. And of course, this by itself doesn't solve the problem and get your student to the big group, but it does help the student feel heard and understood, and that will help ease the tension, which is a great lead into step 2. Help the student work through the conflict. And we have 3 options that you can choose for this. The first option is to offer the student a controlled choice. I understand, playing at the table is really fun, but learning about the Bible is important. Would you rather go to the big group now or finish your coloring page first? What choices you offer are not that important, as long as both options are okay with you. What is important is that by giving the student options, he can feel like he's getting some power back, which is very helpful with strong-willed students. The second option is to give the student a face-saving way out. For some students, once they say no to a request, they may keep digging their heels in just to save face and not be embarrassed in front of their peers. If this is the case, then try offering a different solution to the problem. I understand, playing at the table is really fun, but learning about the Bible is important. Maybe you could help me by passing out the Bibles to the class. Now, if he says yes to that, he can save face but still cooperate without feeling like he gave in. The third option would be to invite the student into the solution by talking things through with him and really listening to what he has to say. I understand, playing at the table is really fun, but learning the Bible is important. What would make being part of the big group better for you? When we invite students into the solution, we make them feel respected. And let's face it, it's harder to want to stay in a power struggle with someone who makes you feel great by respecting you and your opinion. And then when he does answer, repeat back what he says so he feels heard. If it's a good idea, then go ahead and let him implement it right away. Or, if the idea isn't so good, then you don't have to implement it, but you don't have to outright dismiss it either. Yeah, that would be great. We don't have that today, but I'm going to give that some thought. Thanks for the tip. Ready to join the group now? And remember, no matter which option for working through the problem you choose, always have a calm, firm, and neutral tone of voice and relaxed body language, because people often mimic the energy of those around them, and we want to spread the calm. And finally, we have step 3, give them time. Even if you do everything you can to avoid a power struggle, sometimes a student just isn't ready to make a good choice. They may still be processing their feelings or thinking through their options, or maybe they just need a moment to calm their bodies down before being able to think rationally. In other words, what they really need is time. So if a student is still tense, consider giving them a moment to themselves. You could say, "I'm going to give you a minute to think and then I'll check back in with you." Or, "I'm going to give you a minute to think. When you feel ready to talk, I'll be right here." Make sure that you continue using warm body language and that while you give your students space, you also keep an eye on them. Wow, those were some winning tips to avoiding power struggles. But there's one more thing before you go. One of the very best ways to avoid power struggles with students is to intentionally build relationship over time. So always give each of your students respect, encouragement, and show them the love of Christ. We hope these tips were helpful for you today. But just remember, no matter what you do, sometimes a kid is just going to have a tough day. And if that happens, use your best judgment, be compassionate, and remember to treat them how you would want to be treated. Thanks for joining us today.